All right, in 5, 4, 3,
Cheap flights.
Cornbread.
How's it going, everyone? This is Frank Cavone, the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Frank Cavone, and this is episode 46 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast. I'm here with co-host Doug Quimby, and we have the Italian stallion himself, Vito Ciccarelli. How you doing, Vito? I'm surprised they let you in Saratoga.
Well, I don't usually cross the river that often. I tend to stay over in my own county, but this is an exception. You're a special guy.
Oh, why, thanks. We have a lot of great stuff to talk about today, especially Rockin on the River and Powers Park 20th anniversary shows. Is that correct?
Boom. It's back for Section 8, 20 years.
20 years. Here we go. And as always, you can listen to the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube Music, and you can watch it every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. as it premieres right on the Mirth Films YouTube channel. And it's been a crazy week. I'm just going to get started here. This has been one of those weeks where it's just I've been in editing hell. And then people continue asking me for projects, and I'm just like, yeah, of course. And I realize there's only 24 hours in a day. I got 27 hours of work. But that's life. That's what all the people say. At least Frank Sinatra does. But yeah, just a lot of interviews. We just started the hiring process for Mirth Films. We got about 4 or 5 people now who are going to be writing for Mirth Films exclusively. Writing, which is great. We hate writing, so thank you. Thank you to anybody who was interested. I think I probably had 30 or 40 emails.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Within 3 days.
Dude, insane.
So and that's where we are trying to create budgets for things. If you are interested, if you are a business looking to spread your presence, either through the podcast or through video services, please feel free to reach out. We are here for local mom and pops. That's what it's all about. So, other than that, got to go check out the Capitol Underground. 35 years of Ralph Renna being in business here at Putnam Place, and it was a party, man. It was actually a great time, man.
Oh, sweet.
Ralph's my nephew.
He's your nephew. That's great.
He's done an amazing job in promoting local music over the years, and I can't give him enough credit. He did this all on his own, and he built that brand up to the point where it is today. It's recognized and it's very respected.
It is.
A lot of respect for my little nephew.
Congrats, Ralph, and huge shout out to Fuzz for putting on the party. There was about 6 or 7 bands who played here on a Sunday, and it was a fun day. I didn't even want to go out, honestly. At that point, I worked a double the night before. I was spent, but then Amy Clem was like, hey, let's go check out Comic-Con, let's go check out Capitol Underground. So I ended up doing both before going to work, and it was a great time. And other than that, got to talk to Michaela Davis, one of the biggest up-and-coming musicians. Sat in many times with Bob Weir, Dead and Company, stuff like that. She played Parish Public House, and I just was like, we're starting this People and Places thing, so we got People and Places coming up with Michaela Davis. It actually drops tomorrow if you're watching this tonight as it premieres. And then, that's really it. Just trying to drive a fucking, my head crazy. That's really it. That's what I do best. So,
and I'm driving my car crazy. Put 5,000 miles on it in a month. Just got the thing a month ago.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I just got an oil change yesterday or 2 days ago, so we're good for the next one. But no, I've been definitely around. Decade was last weekend or 2 weekends ago when this came out. That was a lot of fun. You'll be seeing that video before you see this.
Yeah.
So, no, that was a fantastic time running into, the Albany skate crew, running into Seasons. Judders had their own beer there.
It was free, right?
It was free. They also had Liquid Death. I got 3 new cups for my apartment.
Oh, that's sick.
Super pumped. And yeah, saw some really cool skateboards there, so definitely check out that video for some awesome artwork.
You did a great job, man.
Oh, I thank you. Other than that, just I'm feeling your pain, just working, editing. But, we got a Hey Skate Rat in the works, and I definitely think it's going to be a fantastic comeback.
Absolutely, man. Well, cool. You sounds like you're busy. Racking up the miles back and forth on the Northway. I mean, it really is a long driveway, man. Now, Vito, you've been busy. You've been busy putting together, a whole summer worth of music.
It's off the hook this year, Frank. Rockin on the River. You know, we had a formula back in the day. I was on the ground floor of that event when it started. I was the City of Troy's event coordinator. And the deputy mayor and the mayor at that time, Dan Crawley, and the mayor, Harry Tutungin, they wanted something that was very similar to a Live at 5, and do it on a different night, do it on a Wednesday night. So together with the Troy Business Improvement District, the BID, and Gen Entertainment, Jared Kingsley, who used to book Revolution Hall for many years. Jared did the booking. I assisted Jared in a lot of ways and built that thing up to the point where nobody was talking about the other communities anymore. They were talking about Troy, the things that happened. I mean, the influx of events over that time period. River Street Arts Festival, which was started by Jim Barrett, Artie Fredette, and the late Dana Rudolph. I took that over, the booking, about 3 years in, after they had started it, established it, and the city was ponying up money for national acts for that one. We also brought into play Troy Pig Out, which the first year we drew over 30,000 people.
Wow.
It was insane. It was just a meat orgy. You know, really, it was. We had barbecuers coming in from all over the country for this one. Chowder Fest, and we started Powers Park in 2004. Rockin' on the River developed into, it was an animal. We found the winning formula, and a lot of original artists don't like to hear this, but the tribute acts.
Yeah?
The tribute acts is what put this thing over the top, whether it was Talking Heads, it was Stop Making Sense.
Yeah, Stop Making Sense. They were just here, actually.
The B Street Band out of New Jersey, the #1 Bruce Springsteen tribute in the world. Matter of fact, they're coming to Powers Park on July the 22nd.
Wow.
For a special night. Well, it's
and those tickets, this is a free show too. You're not going to spend $2,000 at a Springsteen show.
No,
you can just go to Powers Park.
And these guys are absolutely fantastic. But Almost Queen, Zoso with the Zeppelin tribute.
I would check out Almost Queen. I've heard great things.
They're not coming in this year to our events. We didn't have the budget for Rockin' on the River. It was not the last director, but the one before that. She pretty much ran it into the ground.
Okay.
See, with that, you've got to stick with the original formula, not your own musical taste. And that's something I've always been very good at, putting the right ass in the right seat for these events. So I went on the board of directors with the BID. Of course, the pandemic shut everything down. Then they did this lame-ass thing over at Russell Sage. It was terrible. It broke my heart to see it. You know, here I am. I'm doing events all over the Capital District, and they wouldn't do Rockin' on the River. So it was pretty much the event was almost dead at that point. We brought it back last year. Instead of 8 weeks, we wound up doing 4 weeks. We're doing the same thing this year because there was literally really no budget for it. So I did the schedule, and you know, I had to fit into this budget right to the dollar. But we've got an amazing schedule. Opening week, we're bringing in a new act out of Rutland, Vermont, Christian Montgomery and the Winterkill Band. Frank, when they sent the music to Radio X, I was blown away, totally blown away. And the funny thing is, Rob Smittix had sent me some of this music like 4 months before, but I get so much stuff coming in, it's hard to get to everything, especially, you know, with the full-time job and my own production company and my duties over at the X. It's hard. So I finally listened to it and I says, oh my God, this is great stuff. So I reached out to him because I was booking Rockin' on the River.
Yeah.
We came to an agreement on a price, and I've got him opening for Neon Avenue, which is going to be a great show.
It is. And Neon Avenue, the premier Grateful Dead band here in the area. You got members of Formula 5. You have members of Slipknot, members of Stone Revival Band, all mixed in with that band. And they're good friends of ours. Oh, yeah. They freaking rock. And I mean, anytime you get to see Joe Davis on guitar, June 28th. Is the first one.
First one.
Every single Wednesdays. And for those who don't know about Rockin' on the River, I didn't for the longest time until I got more into the music industry here locally and realized that, yeah, it is basically, you know, an outdoor concert series that you guys do right in Troy, right at Riverfront Park.
Riverfront
it's
Park.
Free. There's going to be vendors. It's going to be good times.
It's always a great time. You're right on the Hudson River. The park itself, they kind of screwed that thing up when they developed it. There's a lack of trees down there, but there's an amphitheater. It's a pretty cool setting. You're right on the Hudson River, and actually this year, because of the budget, Frank, we're going every other week because we don't want to lose a show in case of rain. Yeah. This way here, the bands are committed to the following week also.
That's smart.
Yeah, so it worked out. But we've got some great headliners. The following show is Legacy, a Journey and Foreigner tribute. And people were saying, well, why don't you bring in like a Beatles tribute? Because it doesn't sell. That was my generation. My generation is dying off.
Yeah.
The new classic rock is Journey, Foreigner, Styx, groups like that. That's what people are going out to see.
That's weird to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I'd much rather go for some Beatles, but that might just...
Well, I did plenty of Beatles shows, but, initially 20 years ago, they were still drawn decent. But the last one I did, I had maybe 400 or 500 people. And you can't justify the outlay of cash for that small of a crowd. I deal with sponsors. That's how we put these things on. Yeah. And the sponsors want to see numbers, and the numbers are going to hear about their business because I'm a shameless whore with a microphone in my hand for these sponsors. But it's a pretty cool schedule that we've got. I know people are going to come out. We'll have a beer truck there. We just ask that, of course, people don't get out of hand, because then you're going to get your ass thrown out. Simple as that.
And hey, if there's no tree coverage, we live in New York State. Bring the trees.
Yeah. We kick off Powers Park on July the 8th. Powers Park, that's my baby. That was given to me by Mayor Tutungin and Deputy Mayor Crawley in 2004. Got called in the office, said, dude, let's do something for Lansingburg. So we had, Powers Park encompasses a full city block. It's wrought iron gated in. We had this bullshit stage. And after the first year, the mayor called me in and he says, we're gonna build a new stage. So they asked me what I wanted. I told them at least 20 by 30. This way here, it gave me flexibility for bigger bands. I even did an orchestra up there. Ooh. Seriously, it was insanely fun. I had this full freaking orchestra on this stage. And, even the rock crowd came out for this, and they were doing the old Glenn Miller and the big band stuff, and it was really, really nice. But our first show in 2004, I had Kim Buckley, very little advertising. You got to understand, I had been on the other end of the music business as a player up to that point. I was a lounge lizard, and, I was in wedding hell. I ate more rubber chicken than anybody in the world, and I had a hot wedding band, so I was on the other end of the business, not the promotional end, the playing end. Then I got sick in '94, and the surgery, after the surgery I had permanent nerve damage and I lost half use of my hands. Spent a year in a wheelchair, which was a lot of fun. And I'm saying to him, okay, I'm not an overly religious guy, but I'm saying, okay, God, what's the joke here? My legs ain't working. I can't play guitar. But, it was a message. The guitar wasn't good in my hands anymore. I was partying my ass off. I got 31 years clean now. And show me a different path. And then when I got hired by the city, I got into the promotional end. And it worked out really well. And with Powers Park, going back to that, first show, 35 people with Kim Buckley. The second show got rained out. So they gave me enough money the following year to expand it to 6 shows. We got the crowds up to about 300, 400 per show, but we still needed more. It was insane, Frank, because the third year I brought in a group called the North 40 Band, my first country show at the park. And my sound guy, Rocco Mazzarello from Adirondack Sound, he's been with me this whole journey. He and I were sitting there, we're watching people flood into this park. When it was all said and done, I had about 1,500 freaking people.
Wow.
The country crowds are nuts. They took all the picnic tables, lined them across the park, and they're passing joints around.
Wow.
And it took off after that.
So when do you think they're going to change the name to Ciccarelli Park?
They're not. It's a dedicated stage to former Assemblyman Neil Keller, who represented that area.
Oh, okay.
We had that dedicated to him, and the city put on a half-ass roof over. Looks like it belongs in a housing project.
Oh my God.
But I got a cover. I don't have to go through that expense because I was buying tents, and those tents were expensive. Of course, it rained, the thing would collapse. Finally, they put the roof on there last year. So we've got an amazing, absolutely amazing lineup put together this year, the top drawn bands, and it's actually going to be my final season. I think 20 years is enough. I want to, at my age right now, I want to start enjoying my weekends a little bit more, pick my spots when I produce shows. And I had an offer from a larger production company to come on board. I had interviewed with them a few years ago, but I got turned down because of my age. They couldn't say that. They hired somebody just a little bit older than you.
Oh, wow.
And let's just say it didn't work out. He had a degree in event management. Whoopee.
Talk about experience.
Yeah. So it didn't work out. They reached back out to me, and I told them, I'm going to be putting some certain things to bed in 24. I'd love to do something for you. I want to work no more than twice a month. Bigger shows are preferred. That's where the money is.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Once I retire from my day job, it's going to be pretty much music. I'm going to work for a local newspaper. They offered me a part-time position to start writing. I used to write for the Troy Record for years. And but it's kind of breaking my heart a little bit. I'm doing this with Powers Park. I love it.
Yeah.
It's important to the people. And the big thing there, the main demographic that goes to that, we get people from all over New York State, Western Massachusetts, Southern Vermont, that come down for select shows. But our core base of people within the city of Troy, they're on the lower end of the financial scale, so to speak. So we jokingly call it SPAC for Section 8, but they appreciate it. That's the thing. They come out, they respect the park. They respect the fact that, there's no cops at these things.
No, and at the same time, like, that Live at 5, any public event, that evens the playing field. And, it doesn't matter what walk of life you are. That event's for everybody. And that's awesome that, because fucking concert tickets are expensive. Like, let's be real here. We were just talking before, fucking Dead & Company wants $216 for a lawn seat. Isn't that insane? Like, we're talking cover bands here. Isn't that a little corrupt?
For a lawn seat, you don't even actually get a seat with that.
No, you're gonna fucking fall on your ass.
I remember, bitch, this is honest to God truth. I remember August 2nd, 1971, going up to see The Who, my first time up at SPAC. And I was saying, oh my God, $13.50 for a lawn ticket. That was a lot of money, but it was The Who, and it was The Who in their prime.
Yeah,
they were coming off of Tommy, and it was just like, this amazing freaking show. but the prices are driving people out. That's why the free shows are so important.
Yeah.
And that's where the tribute bands come in. I know, like I said earlier, I know a lot of the original artists who bitch at me constantly. When are you going to book original music? I've tried. I have tried for these downtown Troy events. I've tried at Powers Park once or twice, and it doesn't resonate. People want to hear what they know. They want to hear the classic tunes.
Well, you're serving your demographic too. I mean, Troy's very blue collar, and yeah, you want some blue collar music. You know, like,
Hey,
it's really about it.
we're giving them the top bands in the area.
Yeah.
Of course, the Refrigerators, dear friends of mine, always put on a fabulous show. Skeeter Creek, they draw like a damn national act, these guys. And their female singer, Renee Lucier, I've been working with Renee since she was 13.
Wow.
A real quick story. We were putting on the first Uncle Sam Jam, and it was behind Brown's.
Was that with Jeff Guthrie?
No, I did that with Tracy Christopher from Evolution Talent. I had just, Ralph introduced me to Tracy. She wanted to get something done, and we put on this huge event. We had 6 bands, and we had belly dancers inside Revolution Hall. We had wine tasting. We had amusement rides. We had food vendors. And it was just off the hook, the crowd we drew. And that's when I met Renee, had a country band there, and they asked me if they could bring this 13-year-old up to do a tune with them. And she had the voice of an angel, amazing. And,
Who'd that end up being?
Pardon me?
Who'd that end up being?
Renee Lucier.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about
The 13-year-old's Renee Lucier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna be like, it's Madison Vandenberg. I was like, okay.
No. I worked with Madison, I think, when we did a thing over in Watervliet. I forgot what the hell we even
So
called it.
Renee Lucier still playing music?
Yeah, Renee, she married the other singer, Dave All, in Skeeter Creek. And I always tease him, he rocked the cradle there because Dave is a little bit older, but really cool guy, great performers. Skeeter Creek is a dream to work with. Of course, my buddy Joe Shepis, one of the best voices I've ever heard with Legacy, doing the Journey, Foreigner, Styx tribute.
Yeah.
Forrest, Big Sky Country, another outstanding country band. A country really draws for me. So, that's why I'm doing it. We're culminating this Brian Kane in the beginning are in this schedule also. Beating the Odds, country rock, absolutely love these guys. Professionals who, I could pretty much put them anywhere. We're ending the season with I do a Veterans Night, the final show of every year up at Powers, with the combat motorcycle veterans. They've been with me now for a decade, and we're doing a double bill show. Matt Mirabli, a dear friend of mine, I've been working with Matt since he was 15. He was playing with Charlie Smith, the late Charlie Smith, had him in Troy Pig Out, and Albert J. Cummings, who is one of the top blues guitarists in the world. And I can't thank him and his management team enough because they worked with me because of my budget, and Albert's worked for me before, multiple downtown Troy events. Matter of fact, Artie Fredette was the first one to book him in the area at Positively 4th Street way back in the day when he was just coming out of his little bluegrass phase and started doing the blues.
Oh, wow.
Artie put him in over at P4th, and right now Albert's touring nationwide.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And we bring up Art Fredette. I think this is a good time to talk about something else you do, which is you broadcast radio through Radio X.
Yeah.
When can people listen to your show?
Pardon me?
When's your show on, man?
Friday nights, 6 to 9 p.m. I'll be over there creating Radio Magic tonight. And I had actually quit radio 5 years ago. I was with another station, and I just got tired with the bullshit politics of radio.
Yeah.
And so I gave him a big FU, is what I did. Total lack of respect I was getting there. My music library was crap. I had plenty of Barry Manilow, but no real music. Plenty of Madonna and all this other crap that station manager liked. But I kept asking for better tunes in the library. I couldn't get it. So, like I said, I gave him a big FU. September of, I believe it was 2000, I don't know, whatever. I quit live on the air. My phone was blowing up that night. I gave no indication I was leaving. I just went. So I said, I'm done with radio. I'm not dealing with this nonsense. I got enough on my plate. Artie and Ralph started working me. And like Godfather 3, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. And I'm having a ball at the X. Love it. Artie, he leaves me alone, lets me do my thing. I could go on for 3 hours busting the guy's balls, and he don't care. He loves it. But the X has got an unmatched music library. It's a cool vibe over there. Some really great people. I got to meet you, Frank, because of Radio X. Which I'm sure is a thrill for you.
It is. It changed my life. Changed my life.
But I'm very happy there, and you know, I have 32 dedicated listeners. Now we're hitting all demographics with our shows.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be there until I die, probably, or at least get to Jim Barrett's age with that badass Floby haircut he's got.
There you go. That's great. And we just want to give some shout outs here. Speaking of, again, Radio X, I first want to give a huge shout out to Rob Smiddix, who started his own YouTube channel, No Message TV. And Rob's just a great personality. I think Rob is like the person who holds it all together. Because he's the kind, like, good, like we're like, I can relate with art sometimes, like, because we're in a position of having to be somewhat of a leader, like, you know, we have our own levels of stress. Where for somebody like you or like Rob is just able to just be like, listen, we got it, chill out, it's going to be a good time.
Well, the key thing with Rob is the fact that he's doing a lot of the production work and some editing, I guess, quite a bit to do with our Experience Monthly newspaper. But that frees Art up to go out for sales.
Yeah. Which
he's wonderful at. He's a freaking dynamo, Artie. And enabling him to do that, it makes the radio station itself sustainable in the future, just to keep that revenue stream coming in, because you got to give Art a lot of credit.
100%.
Built this thing from the ground up, okay? And we're a recognized force in local music. Of course, you know, as there's another group in the area, Art and I like to jokingly call them the Illuminati. They think they know they're everything to do about freaking music, and they're not. It's bullshit. It's total bullshit, okay? People are paying attention to Radio X. We're out there. We're going to be all over the place. We're involved pretty much with every single major event in this area this year, and we're going to be all over. Our banner's going to be flying, and I'm proud to be with this radio station.
Hell yeah, awesome, man. And I think the biggest thing to pull from all of that is it's original. And that's where, you know, originality and coming up with ideas and concepts not brought to the table before elevates the music scene. And seeing, when you open up, you know, Radio X, and it's this different look at how we do the music, then that's cool. And like I always tell people, like, you know, read everything that everybody's doing, because it's all a different flavor of what you're consuming. You know, how we do things are different from how you guys, Radio X. I thoroughly enjoy opening it up, reading it, waiting for the next cover that month. I'm not a big radio listener. That I got to do more, 6 to 9 p.m. on Fridays. Yeah, I don't know. Big props to what Art's been able to do, because I can very much relate to the idea of having to go to bed and still having all that on your mind and waking up with it the next day, and just trying to make your company and your what you're doing just that much better for not only the people you're serving, but making it worth it for yourself. So shout out to Rob and Art and the whole team at Radio X. Also want to give, this is a new part of the podcast, shout outs. So if anybody has any shout outs to all the mothers out there for giving birth to us, allowing us to do all this stupid, wacky shit. wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. Literally.
My mother said I was a mistake.
I was literally a mistake, but I was a pretty damn good mistake.
Yeah, damn right, man. Shout out to Amy Clem and Doug Quimby for going out on their own free time and covering Decade. That video is now on the Mirth Films YouTube channel. Go and watch that. Support local artists. And then I want to give a shout out to my dad. My dad just turned 60 this year, and he's been the backbone of my life my whole entire life. Always been there through the good, bad, and ugly, and I owe him everything. So for the next 60 years, I will be doing my part in making sure that I am there for you, Dad. Thank you for everything. And also just want to give some plugs here. People and Places, our latest series on YouTube. It's a 5-6 minute short documentary series that happens every other week. We just did one with Shroomies Game Store in Glenmont, New York. Please go check that out. Great game store. Honestly, go buy some games too. Also, got to give a shout out, Classless Bastards. You can now watch episode 3. That is out on the Mirth Films YouTube channel as well. Memorial Meltdown. By the time you're watching this, Memorial Meltdown will be 1 week away, and that's Twiddle, One Time Weekend, Annie in the Water, that's Talk, Giant Panda Gorilla Dub Squad, Mahali and Friends, all up in Lake George, New York for 2 days. Charles Arwood Park, May 27th and 28th, and we will be there. We will not only be there this year filming the event, but we will also be there with our merch table. So go buy some exciting new merch. Doug might even be doing some tie-dye. So, and we've never sold these tie-dyes. Doug actually has the only Mirth Films tie-dye that exists. And so we figure, we got like so much inventory of merch. Why don't we try to sell it? There's gonna be prints. I'm printing off a bunch of prints of ADK Fest, Memorial Meltdown, in just Lake George, New York throughout the years. So go check that out. And shortly following Memorial Meltdown, we are going to try to figure out a way to efficiently distribute the merch items through ourselves and not through a third-party company. And then other than that, I did put out the latest camera gear review video, 7200 f2.8 Canon lens, must have if you're a concert photographer, whether you're Nikon, Canon, Sony, Panasonic, 7200 is something that is across the board an important lens to have, and you can check out why. And some of the shots I was able to capture with the lens, please go watch that on the Mirth Films YouTube channel.
Is that big thing that looks like a cannon?
Yeah, it looks like a cannon. Exactly. And it works like a cannon too. And then also, just gotta plug some Putnam Place shows, since they let us do this here every single week, and our main sponsor for this podcast. Every Monday is Family Tree Band.
Excellent.
Go check them out. They're the best.
Laurie, Kenny, Joey from Super 400. Great people.
Great people. Great Zeppelin cover band too.
Yes, indeed.
Amazing. Sunday nights you can come here for Latin night. And then Wednesday nights you got country night. So you got the Country Kickers here with Kevin Richards, great voice here in the area.
Kevin's a good friend.
He is awesome.
Yeah, I've known him for a long time.
Very approachable guy. I only met him once.
Yes, he's a force in local country.
Is he?
No doubt about it. Longtime DJ, multiple stations. Another one that got screwed over on radio, but as always, Kevin landed on his feet. I've done award shows and whatnot, co-hosting with Kevin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Country Music Awards, North Country Music Awards in particular, which are usually, they were held up at the Scotticoke Fair.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Kevin Richards, definitely you can come see him here in person. He'll teach you how to line dance, which is really cool. They do that here for free, which is awesome. Biggest seller at the bar, Coca-Cola.
Love that.
It's an older crowd. It's just cool to see some other genre having some type of communal thing going on.
Oh yeah.
Being sucked into the jam band scene, we always talk about how communal it is, but if
Right.
you really think about it, I mean, country music does kind of have a huge power here in this area.
Frank, you got to understand how huge country is, man. It's a force in music, and I came over to that side probably about a decade ago. I started listening to some of this stuff, and I'm saying, this is really good damn music, and it's really roots rock and roll is what it's based on. when you break it down, that 1-4-5 stuff, man.
You know,
It's roots rock and roll.
There's been so many people who've come on this podcast and tried to tell us this. I think next year, Wild in the Trees, we're turning into a country music
country
festival.
only.
No
New
skateboards. We're riding the bull down the goddamn half pipe.
But no, I mean, I definitely can like understand that because I mean, like old country, like like Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash. I mean, that is basically rock and roll right there, and I mean, that's all just super amazing.
Exactly. People don't realize that it's roots rock and roll is what it basically. Well, there goes my coffee. What it basically is. Frank, real quick, I just want to tell people if they want to know what's going on, in particular in Rensselaer County, go to our Facebook page, Rensselaer County Tourism, and you can find flyers for all the events. We actually do free live shows, Scatticoke, Thursday nights, Brunswick on Tuesday nights. You also have East Greenbush on Tuesday nights. Skodak has free shows. Powers Park, Rockin on the River. I mean, there's so much stuff going on within the county. You go to that Rensselaer County Tourism page, you could always find up-to-date information, or just go to my Powers Park page or Rockin on the River page, and you find all the information, times, bands, upcoming shows.
Basically, what Vito's trying to say is there's never any reason to have to go to Albany. Just stay in Rensselaer, because it's here in Rensselaer.
It's here in Rensselaer. You know the tagline. That's right. And it's a fact. It's a fact during the pandemic.
I think even living there for just the few months that I did, I really opened my eye to so much. Even just working, together with
you and I.
And just kind of taking in the culture of what Rensselaer County is, not only in Troy, was great, and thank you for having me on board, because I thoroughly enjoy working with you, Vito.
Same here, Frank.
It's always a good time when I
definitely
get to see you. So.
How about when we spend a little time up at Oakwood Cemetery at Uncle Sam's grave?
That was amazing. Never even thought to go over there, and then that brought me there. Ended up taking one of my favorite photos I've taken in recent years.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what it's all about.
Sure is.
So just some other quick notes here for Putnam Place before we get into what we've been consuming here. May 19th, we got Lucid Street and Walker Road. May 20th, we have Prince Bowie with Escaper. That's going to be a fucking party that we will not be at, because we're going to have to be at an overpriced bachelor party. Sorry, John. Love you. And then May 26th, we got E-Block, House of Saturn, and Otobo. Go check out the E-Block.
I love those guys.
They're awesome.
I've
want to listen up.
So many good things about them, guys.
They're really good. Definitely go check out the E-Block. They're playing out a lot now. Then we got the Nola Knots on June 2nd. We have June 18th. We have Jerry Dance Party, which is a a Dead and Company after party here at Putnam Place. And then July 3rd, we got Midnight North. So Phil Lesh's son's band, Graham Lash, is going to be here in town playing at the Putnam Place, literally right here. People will be standing here partying, probably smoking joints. Who knows? Maybe do it outside, though.
The patio is a fantastic area.
The patio is fantastic. It's starting to
yeah.
get nice out, too. I told them, after that Capitol Underground thing, they had music in here and out there, and it changed. And I was like, that's a great format. You guys should take that idea and run with it, because it worked. And like you said, stick to the original formula.
Bingo.
Country music and cover bands. So.
That's all you need.
But this is where we get into the end of the podcast, where we talk about what we've been consuming, what we've been watching, what we've been listening, if you play video games, what you've been playing. So Vito, I guess when you're in this past week, what have you been listening or watching?
Watching Yankees mostly.
Yankees, okay.
Yeah, most nights, Frank, I don't get home till 8, 9 o'clock, because my schedule is kind of crazy. So, I'll watch a Yankee game if I just want to get really stupid after partaking in the evening. Trailer Park Boys go on. And Frank and I were together March of, was it 21 or whatever year, with Randy's Cheeseburger Picnic down at Fusebot.
That was the first time I ever met you.
Yeah, that's right. That's
We
right.
were in the basement of the fuse box,
Yeah.
just with Randy in this dingy fucking room.
Oh.
His stomach's just hanging out.
I got a picture of me, my head resting on his belly.
What a nice guy.
He was super nice. He gets into character, and he was Randy. He was Randy, and I loved the Trailer Park Boys. Frank, one other event I failed to mention is Rye Bread. Radio X's
Try fucking bread, yeah.
involved with. Let me tell you, that schedule is unmatched. I mean, North Mississippi All-Stars, hello? I mean, this is going to be huge. Go to our Rensselaer County tourism Facebook page. I'll be posting about it next week with all the information. This is going to be a 3-day festival up at the Scotticoke Fairgrounds. Going to be huge.
And we will actually be there, full coverage.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Nick Botto and co. want us there, and we didn't even know it.
Yep, we'll be there though.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, I'm going to be coming up on Friday night. Nick invited me up.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So I'll
Awesome.
be hanging with you guys.
Big shout out to
Sounds
Nick.
great.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine the stress and undertaking that this festival is going to be. I mean, it's a lot of money, time, effort involved.
Cool.
Coordination out of anything sinks your time more than anything. Like, if there's anything that takes time out of my day, it's a fucking phone call, or it's I don't think people realize how much like a festival organizer or somebody will go for months on end pre-planning for this 2-day thing that needs to perfectly execute, or you're fucked.
That's right. That's right. And you don't know what's going to happen with a big event like that. Hey, I'll tell you, when I was producing River Street Festival back in its heyday, when we had national acts coming in, my day started at 5:30 in the morning. I'd be down there with the city director of operations, the late Bill Chamberlain, who we lost way too early, towing cars out at 5:30 in the morning, getting everything ready, stage rolling in the hydraulic stage, setting up 2 stages actually for that event. And then, you get done, event's over at 6 o'clock, you get home at 9, 10, that's a long ass day.
Yeah, it is.
But,
a long ass day.
the satisfaction of a successful event, nothing like it. No better high than that.
Seeing other people have a fucking great time?
Oh.
Hell yeah. What
Jesus.
about you, man? What have you been indulging in?
I mean, dude, it's funny. Like the past 5 minutes, it's like, okay, I'm watching this, listening to that, watching this, listening to that, and I'm just like, oh, I blink. Been watching Dave Chappelle stand up. At least when I'm going to bed, I like having just something playing.
Yeah.
I haven't really had time to. I mean, I just been on listening to unexplained mysteries on YouTube. I'll find like a 3 to 7 hour binge, just listen to that at work. Also Twilight Zone radio.
Yeah, cool stuff.
It's pretty
okay.
interesting. Every once in a while, I was I listen to the first 2 Twilight Zone stories. I'm like, man, these aren't even that crazy. I guess what was happening the first 2 minutes. I'm like, this world's crazy. But then there's a couple of them was like, oh snap, this is intense. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, I haven't really been watching too much besides just Adobe Premiere.
Yeah, of course.
We certainly can't watch the news. It depresses the shit out of you.
I just pay for streaming services. I used to watch The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, but then he retired from The Daily Show, so I'm just like, you know what? I don't need news anyway.
Yeah.
And if it's important enough, somebody will let me know.
You're going to hear about it.
You'll hear about
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. What about you, Frank?
I've been not playing anything. I'm kind of in the same boat. Just don't have the time to play video games right now, unfortunately. And it's too nice out. I mean, come on. We live in the freaking North Country. This is the best place to be in the spring through fall, and in the winter too if you are a snowbird, not a snowbird. But watching Mr. Who's the Boss, he's one of the biggest tech reviewers on YouTube. I love watching his videos. They're entertaining. He'll go buy every Xbox or PlayStation ever and go through them and compare them, and I like stuff like that. Kyle Dunnigan, easily my most favorite comedian probably of all time, taking over Bill Burr. His online comedy is just so funny, and he perfected the face swap. So he face swaps famous people, rips on people like Alec Baldwin, Nancy Pelosi. He has a whole show, whole podcast where he is Sly Stallone. So it's called At Home with Sly Stallone, and it's literally just him, literally to a T, perfecting Sylvester Stallone face swap. It's the best. I highly encourage every single person to watch it. I've talked about this on like half of the podcast here since we started Fun and Place, because it's real and it's really good. And he also has this other series called Fresh Prez, which is like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but it's Fresh Prez of DC, and he's Lord. Joe Biden, and he just acts like he can't remember everything that people say about Joe Biden, like in a funny way. He totally like rocks it, and then like has like people like, who's the guy? Warren Buffett's in there, like drinking Coca-Cola and you know.
Oh Lord!
It's just hilarious. Ben Shapiro, he's like Joe Biden's little housemaid, and he like sits on his lap the whole time. It's so hilarious. Other than that, Stone Cold. I've been watching some Stone Cold interviews on Howard Stern. I've been actually watching a little bit of Howard Stern, and after I did that, I didn't know. You know that meme that's going on right now, like just hanging around. You know that like.
Actually, I don't think I have.
You'll have to. And this guy Beetlejuice, who used to be on Howard Stern.
He was a pisser.
Hilarious.
Back when Howard was really funny. I'll never forget when he brought him on. He brought him on right around the same time as Crackhead Bob, which was insanely funny. He had stroked out because of smoking too much crack, and Howard brought him on. He was a pisser. He was a pisser back in the day, before he went to internet radio.
Yeah.
It was always fun to watch him, push the envelope as much as he could.
Well, that's the thing. He went from being like the most raw guy to being the most politically correct guy ever.
Bingo. And that's one thing. Anyone anyone in the entertainment business, I tell people this. Matter of fact, in my contracts, I have a clause. Nothing political, because I actually shut down the sound system. Somebody started their shit at a big event, started going political. I don't like that, because you got mixed demographics, okay?
Right.
I don't push my politics on anybody. Don't be pushing yours on my crowd. Simple as that.
Yeah, and that's our motive with Mirth Films too, is like, it's all pure entertainment. You can go consume that shit anywhere you want to, except here.
Exactly.
But other than that, listening, Dr. John, I've been listening to some Dopapod, just watched the show back. I've been listening to the Kind of Funny Xcast, just because basically Xbox is fucked right now. They just released a flagship game that got like a 4 out of 10, and they didn't get the Activision deal, and it just coincidentally, the guy who runs Xbox division at Microsoft came on this podcast just at bad timing when it all happened.
Really?
And it was just really sad to hear this guy talk, because he is basically saying, if people think that making great games is what's going to sell Xbox, they're wrong. That's not the market we're in. I'm like, in my head, I'm like,
what?
You need the killer app, Like, you look at PlayStation with a stacked lineup of games. Xbox has only really released Forza Horizon, and then Halo Infinite to success. Everything else, it's been 3 years since this thing came out now, so I might be switching, because like I will keep my Xbox for nostalgia, but like I want to fucking invest something that I'm pouring money into. Like, it's got to be worth it.
I've always said, if I'm ever gonna upgrade the system, the next upgrade is just gonna be a computer.
Yeah.
That way you just continuously upgrade it. It's never gonna go out of style.
Never go out of. That's a good point. But other than that,
I still have my original Nintendo I bought for my youngest boys.
That's the best. Vito, thank you so much for coming on today, man.
Hey, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this opportunity to promote my events and get to spend a little extra time with you, buddy, and meeting Doug. It's been a nice experience. Thank you so much.
Of course, you're welcome back anytime. Italians do it best. That's what they say. But
not my first wife.
With that, this has been episode 46 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast, where you can watch it on iTunes, watch it on YouTube, listen on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube podcasts. And Doug, what do you got to do?
You got to smoke them if you got them.
Smoke them if you got them, guys.